Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rémi. This is my brother. We're going to do an interview today. It's gonna be fun. So, without waiting further, let me launch a jingle, and we'll talk to Rémi just after. Okay, Rémi. So, can you just start to introduce yourself? So, who are you? What do you do?
Yes, good morning, Romain. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to the show. So, my name is Rémi. I'm your brother, so Romain's brother. So right now I'm in Singapore, study the French school actually called 42. It's a computer science school, and I have a business background. So business study, and eventually I did freelancing a job in France. I was oriented in business development field, and now I'm learning computer science to be able to add those new skill to my base skill set and to combine them for yeah finding new opportunities.
All right. And so, we are doing this podcast in reaction to the first one about money. So, first of all, I'm pretty curious about knowing your what's your philosophy around money? How do you see it? How do you use it?
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. And actually, now you asked me this question. I Yesterday I had this talk with a friend called John, and he spoke about interesting point, very interesting point. How we don't learn about money. So apparently, either it's in France or in Singapore, we don't we never learn about how to handle how to basically handle our money, like understand it and use it wisely. So,
You
and
mean
then
learn in school or learn?
yeah,
Just not learn.
in
Okay.
school, and then eventually, like from 0 to 18 years old, there is no course, there is no like school program that learn. Eventually, after if you specialize in, like into some financial field,
Mhm.
you get to learn it. But I found it very interesting that we do not. So I think it's good to share ideas about this topic.
All right. And so, did you learn about money yourself?
Yes, I did. Eventually, I remember this story. So I used to be very bad. I used to spend it all, like even more than what I had, which
Okay.
is was different than your strategy. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Because for the thing is, like, I didn't even think about it. It was just like I would either check my wallet at the time I was using cash, and if I was some in it, I would spend it
All
until
right.
there nothing left. And then eventually I learned to save, but it was just because I was like at some point, like let's say I would say like 50 euro a month to in 3 months buy this 200 thing and then spend it all. Like for me,
Mhm.
there was no notion of like if you save, you actually can have return on investment, and as you save more, you get you get more money. But yeah, that's how I I learned, and then yeah, that's how I learned that one day. That's actually in a trip in Amsterdam, and I started to become independent money wise. So was my job to handle my money, right? And we were planning to do this activity, and I was like, oh shit, I cannot do it because I have no money, and I felt terribly. I felt like, oh, this sucks. And from that day, I was like, okay, I need to start to learn how to manage money because I don't want to. Like I will picture myself in this situation right now, and I don't want to live the same situation again. So it was actually by pain that I
Uh
wanted to
huh.
learn.
And so, concretely, what did you change about your behavior around money at this time and on the several months that followed?
So, firstly, I start to make my own, and from this point, it was already different. Since I start to earn my own money, I would spend it differently.
So because
Bef-
before when you spend it all, it was not your money; it was
was
like your parents' money. Okay,
yes,
all right. So okay, okay, I see.
it was our parents' money, if I may, if I may say. So yeah, I didn't think. I just spent. But then when I actually like work for like in able to in order to earn some, then when I got it and ask, oh, am I getting another drink? Or maybe not actually, because it's my money. I did this amount of hour of work to get it, so uh, I didn't feel like spend it as easily.
All right. So did you start to save and invest at this moment, or did you start this later?
Mm, no, it was about that time. Like at that time, I would mm, I would earn a like fair amount of money, and I would try to respect a ratio of like one third, one third, one third, one third. One third was spending. One
Mhm.
third was to like if something happened, kind of money that is sitting there, but I will not spend it. And the other was investment or saving.
All right.
So from that day, I kind of like still follow this scheme of like how I manage my money.
Uh huh. Okay, okay. And so I think a lot of people would ask the question like, okay, but what do you mean by investment? If I want to invest my money now, what do I do? What do you do in investment?
Mm. Yeah, first I open a bank. I open an investment account like in a bank,
Oh, okay, all
which
right.
no, no,
First of all,
we- you, you speak about investment to people, but this is part of the we don't learn how to manage money at school, so we think someone else has to do it for us.
hmm
So that means that actually it's easy to just uh, save at first will be for me just put it the money elsewhere so I don't see it.
hmm
If I don't see it, there's less chance I'm gonna spend it, and then put it in some different account. So at first it was just a saving account like 2.5% a year. That's
hmm
basically losing money, but and then actually try to put it in the stock market.
all right,
Well, it did not happen in this order. I was first in the crypto market, and I lost like I think 80% of what wasn't into this.
all right.
And then as I wanted something more stable, just stock market.
And so, how do you choose your stock market? Do you put on founder index, or do you put on special companies? How do you how
Mm,
do you make your choice here?
I experiment a bit. First was specific companies, and it was it looked more like trading because I was taking a look at graph, and my decision was based on this. But nowadays, I figure I just look at how the graph is doing the 10, 20, 30 last years, and it would be more long-term investment. So
Mm.
now nowadays it will be more index, so like Nasdaq, yeah, American most of the time.
Uh-huh. And so, maybe can you explain what's an index for the people that are watching or listening? Because I know
Yeah,
that's not an easy concept to understand.
yeah. Well, to try to make easy, it's just let's try. If we take the French index, right, CAC 40, CAC 40, it's the biggest companies that make the most the biggest income. We stack them together and we make the average income per year, and you can buy a share of this company, and you get to rewarded if this average of 40 companies keep making money basically, then you get the you get your share of value to go up.
All right. Okay. Okay. And so now you specifically invest in index and fund like that.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Is it because investing on specific company is too risky, or is it because it asks too much time, or is it just because you found out that index are just better because they are you have a better rentability on it?
yeah, it's a kind of a combo of those two, like less time needed. At the time, I don't want to focus most of my time on this,
Mm.
and the risk reward ratio is pretty good.
Okay,
So
all right. And so how much time do you spend by month per month to invest your money?
about yeah, in between 1 and 5 hours per month.
Okay, all right. So it's not that much.
Not that much, not that
All
much.
right.
But yeah, but then I'm curious, why was your strategy of spending money so different than mine back in the days?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Actually, I don't
Is
know.
there like some life episode at some point, ah,
Yeah.
like you spent suddenly too much money and then suddenly you started to
No.
behave differently?
No. Okay. So for the context of the listeners, yeah. So my brother and I always was someone that want, didn't want to spend any money, particularly when I was young. Today it's a little bit better, but I still have the problem. But when I was younger, if I could be paid by someone for anything, I would. So yeah, I didn't have this. I never had the strategy to like spend all until I have nothing. Actually, I don't know. I don't know why we had that the strategy that's that much different. I know that I know that I was alone pretty fast because I was alone in Montpellier at 17. And so at 17, I had to manage my own money, but I didn't have any income at the time. And so, and this is wild because I pretty fast I got the sense that money uh, won't necessarily make my it's not that it won't make my comfort life better because it would, but it wouldn't be like important for me. So I was in an apartment. I could eat. Well, I didn't need like anything else at this time. So I didn't need money, especially specifically at this time. But the fact that I saw my account that just don't move, even decrease, was something that was really painful. I don't know why. It has always been really painful for me. And so what I did at the time is like next to my studies, so I was study VFX and CGI in Montpellier. I gave a music course in like 1-to-1, and so I was able to make like I don't know 150 200 euros per month. And this one I uh, I wanted to keep it like really bad, and so this combined with the fact that when saw my account like decrease, it was painful. Make me in the behavior that okay, I will spend the less money I can every day. And the fact is, a lot of people said, okay, but it's gonna be painful to not spend money. But no, for me, it's spend money that is painful. So when I don't spend money on a day, especially before, it was like a win, right? I was really happy that if I could only like buy pasta to eat for a week, I was yeah.
I see. I see. I see. So like basically,
So yeah, but it was pretty weird because at this time I didn't really make my own money. Still, it was just like money from the parents from the studies, right?
mm,
Um, this really changed when I was able to sell my services on as a 3D artist, and so the behavior became more like let's say extreme because before I didn't like to see my account like lose money, but it was not my money at the time, except the one I get from the courses. But like 2 to 3 years after, I start to make money as a 3D artist, and it was my money. So the pain to lose it was even bigger.
Mm. That
So
makes
so here I think it was the time where my behavior was the most extreme. I won't spend anything on anything. So I remember that and it was something that shocked people uh, because when you are in school you need to eat the at the middle of the day, right? But I did the math really quick and I said, okay, if I buy something to eat like 2 or 3 euros every day, at the end of the month it's 100 euros. And 100 euros at the time it was like 1/5 of my money, right? I said, what the fuck? 100 euros just to eat it's a no-brainer for me. So what I did is like I bought uh,
corn box.
yes,
The
coin
corn
box,
box.
exactly. And where I did buy it because it was really, really cheap. It was like 20 or 50 cents a box, right? And I could eat like one a day, right? And so I put like the 100 euros to like 20 euros per month, right? And some same stuff with the coffee. The coffee was like 50 cents a coffee. But if you take like 3 or 4 coffee a day, at the end of the month you are at 75 euros like just in coffee. So what I did, I just took like a caffeine grain, and I bring my the stuff that put the water hot, right? I don't know the name in English, but whatever. I
Boiling
bring it at
water.
school,
Okay.
and I did my coffee over there like this. It was like 2 or 3 euros per month because the the the
Container,
the
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 container.
cafe grain like yeah will stay a month and I
See.
will put a
Yeah.
little the less coffee possible in my glass, right? So yeah, uh, I don't know why exactly I'm like this. So because I know today why I need the money, but at the time it wasn't that. At the time it was more like a scarcity than
Ah,
the possibility of money.
wow.
It was. I think it was really that simple that when I see my account lose money, it was really painful emotionally, and that's it.
Wow.
It's not it's not that complicated.
Very interesting.
And
So
yeah,
you would say that seeing your account losing money was way more painful that seeing your account earning money in terms of like satisfaction, pain.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. And the fact that at the time I didn't want to earn money to do stuff because uh, this is what is funny. It's like I'm not sad to not spend anything. So if I lived in a really really small apartment eating just pasta, it's good for me. It's even better than spending my money on a restaurant because
That's
the joy comes from not spending the money, right?
it's amazing.
and
Like
and
you cook your pasta and you're like, yes.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And if I could just not eat a day, I would like okay, one day is a win.
And the satisfaction will go up.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And
Okay.
that started to change when the money I had was countable in like ten of thousands. When I had money like in ten of thousands, the feeling of the once the account was no were not decreasing, they were increasing. So the scarcity, let's say, disappeared a little bit, and I knew that I could live my life like 4 or 5 times expensive year per month, and it was
Uh,
change nothing to my savings.
mm,
So the scarcity at this time disappeared a little bit, and but another stuff had happened is that okay, so I realized that if I keep this chain of thought that I don't spend and I have money on the account that increase now, so it's like we are maybe like 5 to 6 years after the studies. I realized that if I put all the money on the index fund like the Nasdaq or the MSCI World, and in average it's like 8 to 10% a year, I could just put all my money and I could have enough to live like all my life. And so with only the return, right? Because it's for 10, so for if you put 100 grand, it's 10%, so you have 10 grand a year. So at the time I have like 250 grand, so I would have like 25 grand a year, and it at the time it was like way enough for me to live.
Mm.
And I say, okay, this is something interesting because uh, it could be a way that the scarcity that to not to have the to see the money decrease would completely disappear. So that's what I did. But funny enough, it did not happen like that because I realized that the fact that I have the return that make the money present every day didn't change the fact that if my account decreased, it would be painful, even if it have no consequences whatsoever on the real world. So, for example, this year with the I moved in another country, and so we have some of the costs that were let's say pretty high than the habitual behavior, and so it was really painful because I saw the account decrease again. And it was a lot of times that the account did not decrease. So and it's weird because now if I'm, let's say, rational about it, I
Yeah.
should not give a fuck because the money in the stock is enough for me to live.
Mm, but still,
But
it's
still
completely irrational.
it's decreased, so it's bad. So it's really emotional at in that part. Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
So
okay.
so yeah, maybe I think the if I need to answer your question why my behavior was so different than yours at the beginning, I think it's from this just little part that when I see the number decrease in my account, it was really really emotionally painful, and so I think this is the driver of it all at the really, let's say, basics, right?
Mm, okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay.
And
But
so yeah, and so what can you maybe add about money that you earn around like the 10 last years that can be interesting for the people, and for example in it could be in anything like in relationship, in your way of living. What did you learn about money that you found like useful and maybe contrary to the what the most of people believe?
yeah. So the first thing is like seeing money as something that will always sit there and like label the thing with security on it, like which is not like people think theoretically 1 euro now is 1 euro tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that it's all like a trust system and it's just like to simplify the exchange, I find it interesting how people will stay close to their money, but by doing
Mm-hmm.
this they make like actually big mistake because you spend you spoke about spending, right? But you didn't say that in when it is investment for your
Yeah.
3D studio, if I say like motion live and your school,
Mm-hmm.
you don't mind like investing, so spending a lot. But I think this behavior is not like it's not understood by the by people. Like the more they the more they earn, they will still spend the same amount in, like, if it's about percentage, right? If someone's earned like 2,000 and he spend like 1,000 a month, if tomorrow he earn 4,000, he will spend 2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I find interesting is like most of people money sit in their account even though they don't use it, because I don't know why they don't like make it work for them. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
have any ideas on that, like why they just people like will just
Mm.
keep money here, and when they have this 20 grand account just here.
Mm-hmm.
But is it scarcity that money will
Yeah.
be somewhere else?
Okay. Okay. So there is several ideas here. The first thing is that I think the investment um, market is a little bit, let's say, uh, victim of the bad marketing of it. So a lot of people are compare this to the casino. So let's say,
Mm.
oh yeah, and you can try this at home if you want. If you say to your mom or your best friend that you put some money in the stock market, everybody, especially in France, would say, "Oh, so you are playing with your money? You are doing casino? Fucking piece of shit." So I think this is the first thing that makes the people don't do it is that they think it's like casino. And well, if all of your life you heard that, why would you change your mind on it, right?
Mm.
So and so if all your life you learn that yeah, your money just need to sit in an account, and you learn that when your money is an account, the money don't move and it's on an account, you will believe that. And in fact, it's not true. You need to understand that when your money is in an account on the bank, your money is working for the bank. So your money is an index fund on company, on whatever, on maybe oil or gold or silver, on whatever the bank want to buy with it. So you have to understand that when your money is in a bank account, it's not really in a bank account. When the money is in the bank is using it to have return on it. So when you are not doing it, somebody is doing it for you and they take the profit for them. All right. And so this is why your saving account can have like 2 to 3%. It's not by magic. It's because the bank is making the money work, and a part of their profit is coming in your account, right? So so this is the first thing I think, and I think this is the biggest is that people. It's not that they are scared; is that they don't want to be affiliated with someone that play, and I put like uh,
Quotes.
quotes around play with their money in stock market because this is really what they think. The second thing is that I think a lot of people, especially in France, don't like the idea of people that put money in the market. So I think it's more like here uh, I would say like a tribute behavior. So what I mean by that is that you want to be like the people you like. So you want to emit, you want to have the same behavior or a behavior that is pretty similar that the people you like. And most of people that I know, especially in France, don't like people that invest money because for them it's like bad rich people that I don't know make children in Africa not have water, right? I'm not even exaggerated. And so when you have this identity that is way far from you that you hate, you won't do the action that this identity for you in your theoretical peace of mind would do. So for me, this is the second thing. And for me, these two things alone that are not even related to finances explain why people don't invest on the stock market. I think the third thing is that people don't understand how the stock market works and what does it mean. Because
Mm.
uh, for people, it's just like numbers, and they don't even understand the principle of buy and sell. So, for example, uh, a lot of people would, if I said to them, okay, why do you don't buy, I don't know, Tesla stocks? People would say, right, well, uh, I don't know what's a Tesla stock actually. I don't know what I buy. I have the sensation to buy like something that doesn't really exist. And so I think this is the third problem that people don't understand what a stock is. So for the people that are listening, as I want to know what it is, a stock, it's really simple to understand. It's a piece of a company. So you have a company, okay? This company have a value, And how this value is determined is really simple. Is how much people are willing to pay to have the company for them. This is really that simple. How much are you willing to pay to have a car? This is the value of a car. How much are you willing to pay to have a company? This is the value of a company. Because a company like a car can be sold to anyone, right? But a stock is exactly the same principle, but instead of like selling the company to one person, you just cut it in 1,000 pieces, 1 million pieces, and you ask people if they want to have one of the piece of the company. So, but this is exactly the same principle. And so, why would you buy a stock? It's because you think that in the future, the people will value the company more than today. And if they value the company more than today, you will be able to sell your small part of the company for more money than before, than when you buy it, right? When you bought it. So this is what a stock is. So this is not wind. This is really, really concrete. This is really a piece of a company. And its value is depending on how the world sees the companies. This is as simple as that. So if the world sees the companies as really, really good, and so if they trust the company, the value will likely increase. At the contrary, if the world thinks the company is doing a lot of shitty thing and is like, if people believe that the company will lose money later, so the value will decrease. So of course, it's really simplified because what I explain is that it happens every day, all the time, for every company. So, but when you buy a stock, this is that concrete, right? You buy a piece of a company, and you can even have, if you want, a percentage of the revenue of the company, depending on the stock that you buy. So often the stock to, let's say, give a reward to the investors, give you I don't know, maybe 10% of the revenue on all the shareholders. So the shareholders are the people that have, it's the group of people that own all the company, right? So if you have a stock, you are becoming a small part of the shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have 10% of the revenue, divide by the number of shareholders. So, and it depends on the value of your, not the value of your stock, but the number of stocks that you have. So if you have one stock, you will maybe, I don't know, earn 3 euros. If you have 1 million stock, you will maybe earn 3,000 euros or 300,000 euros. Depends of the company, the balance sheet that he had this year or whatever. So I think people don't understand that, and so this is like the third reason that, okay, I don't understand. For me, I just buying wind. It makes no sense to me. I want to buy something real, like a car, a house, or a computer.
Mm-hmm.
But buying a stock, because they don't even understand that's a piece of a company, for them it's just like a stock, it makes no sense. And so they are saying, okay, I prefer to spend my money on something that for me feels real. And often something that feels real is like something that's solid, like I can touch, right? But
Mm.
this is in fact, this is really dumb, because often the stuff that are real, that you can touch, often they lose value over time. They don't earn value over time. So if you buy a computer, your computer in 5 years will the value of it will be like way less than when you bought it, because just there will be better computer at that time, and your computer will be old and maybe a little bit dirty or whatever.
Mm.
So same thing with a car, etc. The only thing that don't do that is buildings. Today buildings will keep the value over time, even earn value depending on the time on when you buy it, but building will keep value. But this is the only real, let's say, concrete thing I know
It's,
that earn value. You can have watches. Some of the watches do that too, and we have like all the objects that you can have for collections. So you
Collection.
can
Okay.
go to Pokemon cards, to shoes, to piece of metal, whatever you want. But
Mm.
once again, you see that when you have something for collection, the value is not intrinsic of what the things do, but more of what the thing represents.
Yeah.
And so once again, you are not really buying the thing, you are buying the what it represents. So you are not really buying, when you buy a Pokemon card that the value is at 25 grand, you are not really buying a Pokemon card. You are buying that the fact that this Pokemon card is that the only one in the world, for example. So that's not the Pokemon card that's important here. It's that the fact that he's the only one in the world, and you can say, okay, I have it. So yeah, if I had to
it's like a company share. Actually,
sorry,
it's like a company stock. Actually,
it's like a company stock actually. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
all about belief. How
It's
much?
all about, in any case, money. It's all about belief. It's that you believe that what you have will be usable in the future, whatever you have. Right?
Yeah.
It can be money, it can be stock, it can be a car, it can be whatever you have. It's that you believe that it can be usable for whatever reason in the future. If this belief disappear, by definition, the value of the thing is becoming zero. This is why Bitcoin have value today. Is because there is a lot of people that think that Bitcoin could be usable in the future. So Bitcoin has value. Why other shitcoin has lost to zero is because people don't believe anymore that this shitcoin in particular could have any use for the future. All right. And when I say use, I do not mean like use like financially. I mean
Any
buying
use?
Bitcoin just to speculate is a use, right? It's not the use that the Bitcoin creator have like in mind, but it's a use too, right? But when it's zero, is that there is no use. People don't see how they can use it anymore.
Okay, that brings me to 2 points actually. First one is why do we not? How did you learn about this? Why do we not learn about this?
Okay. Oh yeah, this is a good question. Okay, so for the second, I think the second question is easier. Why do we don't learn about this? It's for me, it's really simple. There is no use for it. I mean that when you are at school, on the point of view of a government, there is no use to teach people about money. That makes no sense for them, because if you teach people about money, you will have smarter people that pay less taxes. This is a no-brainer for a government. So what you want to do as a government, and to even dynamize the economy, you want to increase the probability that people would spend all their money at once, because the more people spend, the more the economy runs. So this is pretty weird actually, because, and this is what I explained in the first video, is that the behavior at the macro level to optimize economics is the contrary that the behavior you should have at the individual level. So at the individual level, like I said, especially if you don't have a lot of money, you should save at first. But at the macro level, the better the economy is, it's because people are spending all of their money all the time. Because the more people spend money, the more the economy runs, because you will like make a restaurant run, you will like investment running, you will make your country works, right? If tomorrow everybody decided to not spend any money, the country just stop to work. Like it's at the macro level, it's catastrophic. So when you are a government and you want to have a dynamic economy, you want to make the people learn to use money as they can spend all of it all the time. And so this is what we learn at school actually. So when you say that we don't learn about money at school, I think it's false. I think we learn to spend it all, because from the point of view of government, this is what you should do. Because at the macro level, for an economy, this makes sense. You need to have people that you need to have the more people that spend, the better. And in translate, another idea is that when people spend, it's like the trust in the economy is the strongest. And so this is where the country develops the fastest. So if everybody is spending all the time, it's because people are really trustworthy in the future that they can earn more. So they spend all of their money, they work, and they earn, and they know, or they trust that they will be keeping doing that, right? And so this is really cool, because it is unblock another thing, that you can have a lot of loans. Because if everybody is thinking that the economy will still growing in the future, and so that the future is bright on the let's say finance side, well, everybody is spending and everybody is not saving, because in any case the money will come in the next month, and the next step is like, okay, I can do loan right now, I can spend even more than I have, because in any case the money will come the next month. And so once again, at the individual level, it could be like pretty weird to spend more that you have, but at the macro level, it's insanely good, because when you are creating is like you are making more money available in your country, and if the production behind like follows, so if you have more products to sell, it's insanely good, because you have a growth that is way faster than you if you don't have any loans to, like, let's say, put like fuel in this growth. So this is, for me, the reason why we don't learn about money at school. And actually, I think we learn, but we've just learned to spend it all. It's because from a macroeconomic point of view, this is the thing you should do. If you are a government, the logical thing is to say, people, please spend all of your money. Do not keep your money on a bank account. So this is the first thing. The second question was, well, actually, it was the first one, but you said to me, how did I learn this? It's a good question, actually. The first idea that, like, let's say, bring me in this world, it was the book called Sapiens from, I don't remember the author's name, but whatever. And it's just a book about the history of human race. And well, there is stuff in it now that with a little bit of time that I'm not sure I'm agreeing with all of it, but it explained something that really changed my mind about everything I see around the world. Is that it gives me this idea that everything we do is based around a story that we tell ourselves, and not a fact. And when I say we tell ourselves, I don't mean like tell ourselves like to alone. It's like we tell ourselves like as a society, and everybody believes it. For example, the story of money. But it's not only the story of money. Like, any company is a story that everybody believes in, right? It's really weird that why Tesla exists. It makes, in the rational sense, it makes no sense at all that something like Tesla could even exist, because Tesla is not really a thing. It's an idea. It's a story, and the story is, okay, we're gonna build like electric cars and whatever, right? So when I get that, a lot of things like start to pop up in my mind that didn't make any sense. For example, I start to see a world, for example, where people don't believe the story about money anymore, and I started to see, okay, so I started to do the experience in my head, like, what would happen, and because the first reaction when you get this idea is that, my God, this is so dumb. Why the fuck everybody would believe the same thing at the same time, even if it's false? Like, why do we believe because, like, rationally, when you speak, the story of money is false. That it does not exist, right? So the first reaction you have is, okay, why is this so dumb? And so you are starting to believe that, okay, I'm more intelligent now, so I will not believe this money story anymore. I will be like, up the crowd, right? But what you start to realize, if you push this experience further, is that without this story, the world just don't run. And this is really weird, because when you start to believe that, you can, okay, right? So the world don't run if you don't have this story. But what does it mean actually? And so you can push and push and push. So, for example, what can I buy? What can I buy? You can just ask this question, because now I know that the money is a story, so I can invent anything. Okay, so what can I buy? And so when you push this question, like, the farthest you can, you will see that there is no limit of what you can buy. You can buy really anything. Anything. And we can see it, like, people that bought a fucking piece of the sky. Like, people have a paper that say, okay, this piece of the sky, like, I don't know, these 4 stars that we can see, like, at this angle, this is you, and you can buy it. Right? You can buy anything you want. This is really crazy. And so when you start to be, you start, and so you push it. Okay, I can buy anything. All right. So if I can buy anything and can sell anything, right? So, and you start to realize that, okay, but I can't buy anything, but I can't say anything, because the only way I can sell it, something, is that if one person want to buy it, right? So this is the difference between buying and selling, is that when you sell, you need to have someone to that can buy it from you, right?
Mm.
But when you buy, the only thing you need to have is someone that is willing to sell it. So it's a little bit different, because when you sell, if you don't have anyone that want to buy your stuff, realistically you are selling nothing. And this is something that struck me, that okay, so I need to sell stuff that people want. That this is really simple, right? If you sell something that people don't want, you won't sell anything. Because you won't have any buyers, right? And so, yeah, and you just push the idea the farthest you can, right? And you try to conclude stuff, right? And this is what I did. And you can, let's say, pair this with a lot of like podcasts, books, and whatever. But in any case, for me, the stuff that did learn me the most about how money works was because I push this idea the farthest I can. So this is the first thing. The second thing is a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki. And it was a little bit different, because it told me not what exactly money was, but it told me what an asset was and what a liability was. So for the people that are listening, there is two definitions of asset and liability. There is like the accountable one. So an asset for an accountant is something that you own, whatever it is. And a liability, it's something that you should give to someone. You need to give to someone. Okay, for example, you have a loan. It's a liability because you need to give money to the bank. The loan is not really at you, it's at the bank. You own a car, it's an asset, because the car is yours and you do whatever you want with it. But in the Robert Kiyosaki's book, the definition changed a little, and this is what really changed my mind about it, is that, okay, but you need to push the idea further and give this definition. A liability is something that you own that makes you lose money or value over time. An asset is something that you own that makes you earn money or value over time. And so with this definition, you can see that, for example, a car becomes a liability, because a car will lose value over time, and every year you will need to pay insurance, gas, and whatever. So you lose money with your car. You would see that a loan stay a liability, because you need to pay your loan and interest every year or every month. So you lose money on the loan. You see that, for example, depending on what you buy, for example, of a building, it could be an asset or a liability. It depends on the building, if the building brings you money every month, or if it makes you lose money every month. And so this is really good, because the conclusion of the book is that, okay, if you want to have a better power of making transactions, so be wealthier, what you need to do is to have the less liabilities as you can and the more asset as you can. So you need to have stuff that make you money over time, and you need to decrease the stuff that make you lose money over time. And this is fun, because this is absolutely that the contrary that most of the people do. Most of the people want to buy stuff that make them lose money over time. That, for example, you will easily find someone that will save money to buy a car. That he will literally save money to buy something that will make him lose money. In the money rules, this is a no-brainer, and this is fucking stupid. Of course, people don't buy a car for money. They buy a car for status or for whatever, or for the pleasure of driving, but not for money. But if you want to think about, like, okay, what should I do for the money? Well, don't buy a car, and don't buy liabilities, buy assets. And so, for example, a stock bounce could be an asset or a liability, depending on when it's losing money or value.
Mm.
So this is what is pretty hard, is that you can't always know what an asset and what a liability when you buy it. So there is a risk part in it. So there is stuff that when it's a liability, always you know it. It's if it's an asset or not. So, for example, a car, it's always a liabilities, but a stock it can be an asset or liabilities. A building can be an asset or liabilities, depending on the building, of the location, or whatever. And so, yeah, so this book told me this. And so when you paired these two concepts, the concept of liability and asset, with the concept of the history of money, you're starting to see stuff that you didn't see before. So you're starting to see, oh, okay, so if I do that now and this is an asset, my value the value of it will increase, and so I will earn more money, for example. So this is the second stuff I did that really like opened my mind. And the third stuff that I did to learn about money is to teach myself about history that countries that didn't use the same model as us. So, for example, because today now when we speak about money, the money works on a free market system, or let's say more or less. And so it's work on one principle, is that people are free to buy or not. That they can choose what to buy. And on the other side of the equation, the people that can sell at the price they want. They choose the price. So this is what means a free market, is that people choose if they want to buy or not. And the people that say that can choose the price at what they buy. Okay, everybody do whatever they want. This is really important because when I realize when I get this idea that everything that I was just like speaking about before only works because we have these two rules, that people can choose to buy or not. They are free to refuse to buy something, and people are free to choose the price of what they sell. Because if you remove these rules, all of what I said just don't work. So, for example, we had this example like several times, but and this is from a book that calls Basics Economics from Thomas Sowell, and this is the third one I read that really opened my mind about like how money works at the macroeconomic level. So, for example, in Los Angeles, I think in the 50s, but I'm not sure of the date, but it's not a problem. Governments see that there is a problem in the housing system of Los Angeles because there is too much people for not as many houses. So what happened in the free market in this sense? It's really simple. It's only you have like people that don't have houses. Makes sense, right? If you have less houses than people, there is people on the street. And so the government sees that, and what he said is that, okay, we have this problem. So what we are gonna do is that we are gonna limit the price of the rent of the Los Angeles. Like that, poor people will be able to have a house, right? And so what happened actually, it's exactly the opposite, because before you had like price ranges from like, I don't know, $400 to $2,000. Now you limit the price of the rent, so you have a price on this for $400 to maybe $700, because $700, for example, is the maximum. I'm simplifying it a little bit, but it's basically this. What happened here is that the rich people still have access to houses. Even worse, it's less expensive for them now. And so what you did here is that now the criteria of selection of the landowner is not money, it's money, and if the people seems good or not. And spoiler alert, richer people seems more good than poorer people. And so what it did happen is that it did not make the problem less, it makes the problem more obvious. And so the house system in Los Angeles, like, because it's like it's been way catastrophic in that time. And what happened is that if you do that, landowners that can't reimburse their loans just don't rent it anymore. And so before you had like all the houses that were occupied, and after you would have like 50% of the houses that were empty. So you made the problem worse doing this. So, and what did the government did? He removed the ability to the landowner to choose the price. So he removed one rule.
Okay.
So, and so to understand that, you have to understand that economics, it's the science of limited resources, the distribution of limited resources. It's only that. And so you can see that and when you know that, when you want to have, it's that you want to have the more efficient distribution possible. And when you see that, you can see that, okay, the solution in Los Angeles before the 50s was better because all the houses were inhabited. And after, like half of the houses were empty, so the distribution of resources was less efficient because you had like empty space that was not used, right? So, and what we can do today, when we can say today with a pretty big confidence, it's that today the free market system is the more efficient way to that we know of to distribute limited resources. And so when you push the problem that I just explained, that you remove one of the two rules or the two rules, you end up like situation like in Venezuela, or worse, like in the Soviet Union in the 90s. So just to explain to people what happened in Soviet Union, it's the story is pretty easy actually. So you have the Soviet Unions, they just work as any other country, basically free market. But what happened is that people are becoming more and more jealous of the people that make more money, because one stuff that is really special about the free market is that it's a more efficient way to distribute money, but it will not distribute money equally. All right, because this is how people works, is that we don't produce all the same amount. Like there are people that produce way better, like 100x than other, and so the distribution reflects that. And so what happened in I won't say a bad society, but let's say a society that is not accommodate to this rule, is that people are becoming resentment and jealous of the people that make more money. And so one really simple way to give these people that are filled with resentment a solution is just to cut the head of the people that make the more money in the country. And so this is what they did in the Soviet Union actually. So how they cut the head, they didn't do it like physically, they just like the state seized the companies that were making the most money. But what happened then? And this is why it's interesting. So when you seize the company, you remove the two rules. You remove the liberty to buy and the liberty to give your price, because when you seize the company, you don't even manage it, right? So now this is the state that decide of the price, and this is the state that decide if you can buy it or no, because the state will say, okay, you need to buy like this amount of food for the month, etc. So the state is regulating everything you can buy, and is regulating the price too. What happened is like famine. Really easy, because really simple. Like you see the companies that make the food, because at the time the richest, the wealthiest people was the people that were making the food in the Soviet Union. Well, people don't work anymore, famine, so everybody dies. And so just to have a comparison, the Second World War was 70 million of death. The Soviet Union is 150 million. So it's like two times the World War II, just because the state and people actually thought that the solution of the inequalities of the distribution of the free market was to control everything. It isn't, because when you control everything, you remove the two rules, that you are not free to buy and you are not free to sell at the price you want. And thinking that you can, let's say, understand the complexity of billions of transactions in a country with millions of people is delusional. You can't. But that's what the Soviet Union tried to do, and that's what happened in Venezuela like 5 years ago. In Venezuela today, everybody is starting to die of famine. And this is exactly the same stories. And that happened in Cuba like 25 years ago, and that what happened in Argentina like 25 years ago. And this is why Argentina is like now really, 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 really free market open. It's because they want to like regain that what they got. And it's really fun because they started like 1 year ago, and it's going really, really well for them. So yeah, free market works, man. It works, right? It's not like I know that there is a lot of opinions about the subject, but this is not an opinion that free markets work. This is today the more efficient way that we know
Yeah,
of as distributing the resources, the limited resources.
I see. Okay, nice. Now, I would say that it works better until we find something that works best. It works best than
Yeah,
the,
actually, this is the
the
best way we know of. This is
yeah,
not the best way at all. It is the best ways
because
that we know of, actually. Yeah,
because they are side effects. Like
sure.
you see, like in our modern society, like how we buy stuff that we actually only think we want, but we don't want. Like how many times it happened to you? Like you've been thinking about buying this, I don't know, like new keyboard or whatever. You actually buy it and you use it once, and that's it.
Yeah,
Because
but
the moment
I
before,
don't think it's a problem for the macroeconomic level. Actually, I think it's a good thing that people are doing like instinctive buy that they don't really want because it
mm,
makes the economy running. Actually,
I
I
see.
don't think it's a. I don't know if it's morally something that is good, but actually I don't really care. But at the economic level, it's a good thing that people buy a lot of stuff, even if they don't need
Mm,
it.
I see. But then if you think more about it, you spend more than the average person, whether you like it or not, like because you have more money to put on the table at the end because you saved so much that today, like if you want to spend like this 10,000
Uh-huh.
3D suite model, you can
Yeah.
like the 3D model that this new computer you can.
Hmm.
Average average people, whatever, they will only they will keep buying shit that is that most of the time like uh, quality weak quality,
Hmm.
but they will spend all time. So then maybe in 1 year they will buy 300 items. You only buy three, but you
Hmm.
still spend like
Yeah,
10
way more
times
than
more
them.
money.
Yeah, yeah. I see what you mean.
So if you push this, actually people start to save and the industry change the way they produce and they focus more on quality. It's like you have less to offer, but the thing you offer is a lot
Mm.
more
Yeah,
valuable in terms of quality. So
yeah,
at the
yeah.
end, you find that equilibrium at the end.
I see what you mean. Actually, it's not a stupid idea. But I would say this: I think that the problem that you are describing is not because of the free market system. It's because of how human brain work. Is
Yeah,
that? But so I don't think that changing the system will change this behavior. I think that people will
yeah,
always like, well, most of the people will always follow the impulses. I and I and I don't see, let's say, a way to change that because it's part of human nature. And I think if you wanted to like reduce it, I think it will create way more harm that you can imagine. Because I know that from the exterior, having someone that is like driving by his impulses in buying stuff, it's pretty sad. But take this person and remove this ability for him, and you have a zombie. Because uh, uh, not a lot of people, the majority of people that I know that are driven by this kind of impulses, it's like it makes their day. If they don't do it, they are miserable. And I
mm,
don't think you want a society where people are miserable. Because if they are miserable, they don't buy anything, nothing is produced, and at the end, it's like it's a shitty world, right? So I think I think like the overconsumption and overconsumerism is the price to pay to have a growth society that grows and that where you can have more and more comfort for less and less money, less and less value, I would say. And I think it's a good price to pay. I think the alternative is way worse.
Mm.
And why I think that is because people can choose. And I think it's always the same thing, that I don't want people. I want I want people to have the liberty to do stupid shit. I don't want the government saying to me what is stupid or not and what I can do or not. I think it's really important that I need to be able to be free to do mistake. If you know that what I would do is a mistake and you forbid it to me, I think it's bad. I think it will create a society that everybody like miserable, because
Mm.
you need to let people have behaviors that are counterproductive. You need to let people drink alcohol. You need to let people smoke. You need to let people do drugs. You need to let people that are really doing stuff that are clearly bad for them. And that's okay, because they are afraid of doing it. Because if you take the opposite, like, okay, let's imagine like 30 seconds a society like alcohol is pretty bad for ourselves. Okay, so it's forbidden. Smoking is pretty bad too. Okay, so it's forbidden. Not do exercise is pretty bad too. So you will be obliged to do 2 hours of exercise per day. Okay, but eating bad is pretty bad for you. So we will decide what you will eat every day because it's for your own good. Well, I think everybody can see how this is becoming like the worst world you can imagine. But in the rationality, it's the best for you. That you do sport, you don't eat alcohol, you are in the best shape of your life, right? But everybody can see that no, this is not the world I want to live in, because people don't want to be healthier. They don't want to have more money. They just want to be able to make their own choices. If you remove this ability, I think you are going in the world like pretty fast.
Mm. Okay.
I think. I actually don't know if it's real, right? Uh,
Yeah, that's
because
interesting because I feel like in France you can do way more, you can experience way more than here. Uh,
in Singapore.
yeah, in Singapore, like the law is so strong that you need to behave. And yesterday I was discussing the people that uh, are not from here, that they were saying
Mm.
like how it is less fun
Uh huh.
because you need to respect all the rules. Meanwhile, the law is so strong that everyone behave, and it's like the price to pay, the price to pay, sorry. That then it's super safe.
Uh huh.
So they kind of like buy the safety, but then it's less fun and everyone is kind of like living in their bubble.
Mm. Okay, so I think I will go against you here, because I do not think that Singapore is more regulated than France. I think that France is way more regulated than Singapore. It's just not regulated at the same in the same way. So, for example, Singapore, I think it's just after Andorra, is a country that has the less rules about business transactions. So it's way less regulated. But and actually, the laws in Singapore are not that much of difference in France. The only difference that in Singapore is applied. And I think this is the difference, that there is not less laws in France. Is that the laws in France are just not applied. So
Yeah.
this is not exactly the same thing. Like, it's not a law problem. An application problem. It's an
Mm.
implementation problem. So uh, and once again, I would say that the 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 rules that I just said before only works if you don't if what you are allowed to do don't don't go against another people, another, let's say, liberty of people. So there is a stuff that say your liberty stops when the liberty of someone else starts. It's a little bit caricatural, but I think you get the idea. And this is why you need rule, right? Because if you don't have any rules, you can just kill your neighbor and no problem, right? And this is like, once again, it's a really bad society if you can kill your neighbor
Yeah.
and do not have consequences. But what you need to have is, first of all, you need to have like rules that everybody agrees on. So you need to have like people that choose the rules. Because if the people that choose the rule do not live in the countries that the rules are in, they have a problem. And this is for example, what's happened in the Africa. the Africa countries. The people that choose the rule in Africa do not live in Africa. Often the king or whatever, the dictators like live in Switzerland or whatever. So of course this is a problem because when you are not in it, why the fuck you will just think about it? But the other thing is that okay, once you have the rules, for example, let's say in Singapore you have the rules and the rules are pretty strict. It's that it's not the rules that are strict. The rules are the same. It's the execution of them. And I think it's good. When you have rules that everybody agrees on, I think the execution should be flawless. And it should be like really, really fast and really, really effective. If you take the France situation today, in France you're not theoretically you're not allowed to steal, right? You're not allowed to steal a car, you're not allowed to steal a house. But in practice, you can steal whatever you want, you won't have any problem. Right? Because the law is really, really bad in implementation. And what's really weird in France too is that we removed with the time the concept of individual responsibilities. And so once again, this is a concept that is really, really opposite to the free market because the free market say you can choose whatever you want, your price and what you buy. And what it induces is that you have a personal responsibility of your choice. In France, and it's like in communism and socialism system, what you do is that okay, no, actually you don't have any responsibility when you buy stuff. We will choose for you. And so if you do a mistake, it's not your responsibility too. So what you have now is that people that steal, kill, drug, whatever you want, it's not their fault. They're poor, they have a problem in their life, whatever you want, and so they do not go in jail or whatever. They go in like education center for 1 week, and after they're good. Well, I can tell you it doesn't work, and it doesn't work because, well, as of today, the system that works the most is that when people take responsibility for what they do. So, like it's just like once again, it's not a matter of opinion, it's a matter of fact, right? If people that don't have consequences for what they do, they don't give a shit. Like you can try it if you want with a kid. I don't know if it's the best system ever, but it's the best system that we have now. And so I would say that the laws are not the same as the implementation of the laws. For example, where I live here in Andorra, there is not a lot of laws, but the laws that are applied are really, really, really well applied. If you park a car when you can't, you will have a fee like in the 30 minutes. It's insane how fast they are to put you a fee if you don't park your car well. So the law, there is not a lot of laws, but the law are really, really well applied. So I think it's a difference between execution and the implementation and the choice of the laws. And actually, the book of the law in Singapore is way less than the book of law in France. So you have way more regulation and laws in France than in Singapore. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They are both like every law. Uh, First, yeah. So it's like they are well applied and also stronger. And there is no that. Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to smoke here or this kind of like every time like it's well
All is
specified
clear.
and
Yeah.
everything is clear and there's not like misunderstanding most of the time. So you perfectly know like what you can and what you cannot do. Whereas in France, like you can like vape in the train and and just the guy will say, "Oh, no, yeah, you cannot do this here,"
Yeah.
and then
Right.
you will see him vape it, right? This kind of
Yeah.
stuff like happens, but yeah,
Yeah, because this is this is the behavior you're starting to have when you don't have personal responsibilities taking into account is that even the people that enforce the rules won't respect them. Because why bother, right? If you are not responsible, you can do whatever you want. And this is, for me, this is the sickness of socialism as communism. This is the rule of it. Yeah. The consequences is that you have a system that when you can't decide when you buy and what price you buy because you can't have the responsibility to choose. But I think the basic of it, the root of this cause is that you remove the idea of personal responsibilities. Is that people behave like they behave, and it's not because of their fault. When you, I don't know, even know if that's true, right? I don't even care if it's true at the scientific level because it's pretty hard to know actually. But if you remove this idea, well, you it's France, right? And if everybody are coming in France now, you know that it's not a really really good place to be. So this is why it's fun because you can just look, right? You look at country where personal responsibility are strong, and you look at country where personal responsibility are weak, and you just compare. And this is like, it's a no-brainer. You see it everywhere. Look at London. It's a piece of shit. Because the idea in London is that, oh, everybody can come, everybody is the same, nobody is fault, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
go in London, you will have a knife in your belly. London actually is way worse than France. So it's it's an idea that is simple and so I think sexy because people it's, oh, it's a nice idea. Everybody has a chance. Everybody
Yeah,
is not
yeah,
their fault. Everybody is equal in the in ways they start like from today. Like we get rid of the pace. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's try that with your daughter. Take the rapist that raped your daughter and what we say, okay, let's take out the past. He is equal from you. Yeah, you can see that it doesn't work, right? You can see that it's like it's 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 even at the emotional level it feels wrong. It feels wrong. And I think it feels wrong because it's like it's the way we evolve to survive. Is that if people is not, if someone is not trustworthy in the tribe, you just kick out of it. And how do you know it's not trustworthy? You just fucking take into account his past behavior. So yeah, I think the root of the free market is personal responsibility. When you have personal responsibility, naturally you are moving around the free market because everybody can take a chance, take his choice with responsibilities, and so he will assume. Everybody will think that you will assume the consequences of your choices. And this is why a free market works. If you remove this idea, the free market can't. It's not even that it can't work; it can't exist because if you can't have responsibility for your choice, how can you make choices? You need someone to take your choice, to make the choice for you, and that we call regulation. And a lot of people say, yeah, but regulation is like to help to protect dumb people. Yeah, I don't fucking care of dumb people. Dumb people should be free to make the mistake. I think it's how you learn. So if you are not free to make your mistakes, you don't make any, but you don't have any freedom, and you arrive in the world that I described. That okay, we will decide what's best for you every time. Cool, but it's a miserable life. You will be healthy and you will be in shape, but it's a miserable life. So yeah,
Okay.
what do you think about it?
Well, yeah, it's pretty fair. I agree. Most of it. But then I'm thinking as we as we get to the free market, like we can get to what we want very quickly, like without any effort. And
In the free market,
yeah,
well, it's pretty hard because you need to have something to sell. You can't move in the free market if you don't have something to give to someone. So if you don't have something that people find useful, you can't move.
yeah,
So, but if you have
exactly.
something, yeah, it can be pretty easy. If you think you propose is really useful, it can be pretty easy. But well, it's pretty hard to have something that people want.
If you're just scrolling on your phone, you actually you're giving a lot, right? You're
I see what
selling
you
your,
mean.
and then
Yeah, you know
you
what?
don't produce shit, and at the end of the day, you like you she's like you're the project, right?
Yeah,
So you're
but
being kind of the victim of the system, and the only thing is like the good comparison you make with the kid. As a kid, like you're not responsible, so uh, eventually someone is taking responsibility for yourself until
uh-huh.
you become an adult and you can start to make your own choice.
Yeah.
Well, as a kid, if you are driven by things that should not that you should not see, like if you spend like 10 hours a day scrolling, then the free world open to you, and like
Yeah.
you you in
I
that
see what you mean.
zombie state, and
Mm.
it's like at what point, I mean, that's why I think, back to the first idea, why we do not learn this money education, why do we
Mm.
not learn how money works, and in that term, how do we not learn like the difference in between want and need?
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
So then it's education give you freedom, right? Because as you know what you're doing, you can kind of like choose like where you want to go
Yeah. I
afterwards.
would say the ability to predict the future better and better give you freedom. I won't say education because you can learn false stuff. You can
Yeah,
learn stuff that won't be predictable in the future, and so it give you
of,
doesn't give you freedom each time. But yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah, it's more, it's not even like education in terms of like go to school, but it's more like uh
Yeah, knowledge.
yeah, knowledge in terms of like, this thing or this concept, let's actually like push it, like you were talking earlier,
Mm.
and asking question about it and try to like turn it, and
Yeah, yeah,
so we actually learn and make experiment and these things, right? That's what I call education. But in a free market is also like, directed to the needs, to know, to the wants of the people, so that the you can basically send whatever people want, and then people would think, oh, this is what I want, and I keep like sticking to that. And what is the end of that kind of like of new, like here, and they take like they call it MRT, like the subway, the
mm.
train. Sometimes I look around, like 20 people around me, and 19
On
like
the phone. Yeah,
dooming, yeah, like scrolling on the phone.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm like
I see what you mean.
so, and
Yeah,
then
you know what? I don't think it's a bad thing.
you think it's
I
positive.
don't think it's really weird because well, once again, I try to be someone that do not judge what people do as base of a
Mhm.
morality at a macro level. So, for example, would I keep my time scrolling every day? No. I think for me, it's bad. It's not what I like to do. But if I own a company that make people scrolling every day, I don't fucking care. Because once again, it's because people are choosing to do it. Like nobody is giving you the phone on your hand and making press your Instagram, right? You press Instagram yourself and you scroll yourself. You make the choice to do it. Is it good
Yeah,
for you? Like at the basic need level, pretty much not, right? But is it what you want to do? Yeah. So once again, is the system of personal accountability and responsibilities, right? You are responsible of scrolling like 10 hours a day on your phone like a jackass. But I think where you are, when you, let's say, speak about a point that is pretty relevant, it's when you speak about kids. Uh, I think it's a really difficult question, the kids. Because, like you said, kids are not responsible.
yeah,
Well, they are not responsible for all. It's like pretty much, it's pretty blurred, right? Because if you're a kid at 15 years old, you are not if officially responsible, but if you kill someone, you're still going to jail or like a kid jail. So you're pretty much responsible, right? So once again, you are not responsible, but you are a little bit. So this is even at the low level, it's pretty blurred. But for me, like you say, as a kid, you are not responsible. So the people that should be responsible is your parents, and this is how it works in like Western countries. So for me, the thing that is pretty weird that is happening, but once again, I don't think it's bad, but it's weird, is that the informations in the world is can travel now really really fast. Like you have an explosion in whatever country you want, you can learn about it like in 1 minute,
mm,
and you have a quantity of information that is available that is insanely huge. And I think that these two ideas first of all, this is this idea that makes the doom scroll. That it's not that Meta or whatever are like the bad people that want to keep your attention. The real idea behind it is that you have you have infinite news. So you have access to an infinite amount of, not really an infinite, but a huge amount of information. And why I think it's weird stuff is that as a species, we did not evolve for this. We evolved for a small amount of information, like small tribe. And so from like 20, 30 years ago, we have an access to information that is, it's not even easy, it's free. It's absolutely, it's never been easier to access to any information. And I think that it's like, it developed a lot of really, really good things for society. It developed researchers, it developed people that can learn of stuff. But the thing, I think the cost to have that is that people can have access to any information, whatever they want. And what do you have when you have that? Because we did not evolve for it, it's doom scroll. Because you just new. And this is just, we were not wired for this kind of stuff. And so, yeah, is it bad? Is it good? I don't know. I see how it's good because the access of information is insanely useful for whatever you want to do. If you want to learn the stuff, the fact that you can access information to learn it, it's really great, right? And I think nobody will say, oh no, it's not bad. But I think the price to do that is that you can access whatever you want. TikTok is this, I think, because I think people are like really let's say angry at TikTok or Meta or Instagram or whatever. But I think people don't understand that the possibility to be able to read a scientific paper on Google search is the same concept as to be able to go on TikTok. This is the availability of information. This is the same stuff. So you can't have one without the other. And I think people, when they speak about it, they imagine a world where you can read any research paper you want, but you can't have TikTok. It's dumb. It's dumb because this is the same stuff. You can't have one without the other. And so for me, if the price to pay is at 90% of the population because doom scroller, I'm willing to pay it. Because next to it, we are doing like rocket to go on Mars. So yeah, no problem for me. I know that it's not a popular opinion. I know that a lot of people think like social media are net negative on the world. I don't think so. I think it's like largely a net positive. Like for like 90% of the case, it's largely a net positive. And I think that once again, it's people that don't want to take their responsibilities in hand. Yeah. Once again, you click on Instagram, you scroll it like a dumb motherfucker. So just stop. But the question of kids is something, because if you are parents that didn't have the time to understand how the, let's say, not the technology works, but the consequences of the easiest access to information, and you just let your kid do it because it's not that you don't want to regulate it, but you don't even understand yourself, so it's quite hard to do. Well, you can have like your kid to, let's say, your kid's brain that is not, let's say, developed enough to have to take back on the situation and like have any information that they want to seek. Yeah, not sure it's a great idea for the kid development. But to be fair, I don't see how to resolve the problem, because today, if I look at it like let's say the more rationally I can, is that okay, you have like an evolution in the way that we access information that is so fast that the kid have access to it faster than the parents. So the parents can't regulate it, because once the kid have access to it and they can use it, the parents don't even know that it exists. So yeah, this is pretty real, and I don't really know what to do with this information, because I can see a world where everybody is dumb as fuck because it's always overwhelmed with too much information. I can see a world like this. I can see a world too where if you just give people what they want and not what they need, you just put them like a drug, like, and they are always happy. I can see a world like this, yeah. not really, let's say,
Happy ending.
really happy ending. But I can see a
Yeah.
world like this because I don't see a rule that won't like make this available.
Yeah.
Why
Like,
not?
like
If there is a
make,
period they
make,
can tell you are always happy and you just
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
you
drug,
you're
right?
always
And
like on pills. Like,
why not? Why not?
it's like yeah, it's like in fucking Wally.
Yeah, yeah, like Wally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
see
like we go
why
like this, but especially here, right? It's crazy how like
in
if
Singapore.
it's yeah, yeah, if it's more than two bus stop,
Uh
like
huh.
people they won't walk. They
What?
yeah, when I walk on the street, it's crazy how I, especially like if in the middle of the day, I will be alone walking
No way.
because everyone is either taking the bus, taking the train, driving
Oh, okay,
the
okay,
taxi.
alright.
Like people don't even like rather I'm just gonna walk 15 minutes. No way.
This is
So
this is
already, and we are in a free country
yeah, yeah, yeah,
where capitalism is there.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's where like you get to the people not need but want fast.
yeah, yeah,
I want to go fast there.
yeah, yeah.
That actually when I take the bike, I'm way faster than the bus. and
This is fun.
and I find it quite enjoyable because it's 30 degrees all year long.
Mm.
It's sunny, it's nice, but then I think it's because I don't know. I People don't even know that you can rent bike. Singaporean. They they will ask me, "Oh, you own a bike?" No, no, bro. I'm running like the blue bike. You know? Oh, oh, this shit. Like,
This is pretty actually funny, right? Maybe maybe it's the price to pay for comfort, right? The more comfort you give, you make access to people cheaply, the less people will enjoy the friction.
yeah,
Because I came across this idea like not that long ago that I think it's really really true, unless I think it's true for me that there is point in friction, like there is point is in discomfort. The, that there is something that if you have only comfort, you are not happy, and you.
yeah.
So I would say that the perfect point to be, and but here it's more of at the individual level. It's between the comfort and the discomfort, like at the edge, right? When you are at the edge, you are stable enough to try things, but you are, let's say, adventurous enough, once again, to try things, like to take risk.
Mm, yeah,
Because if you are in a world where you can't predict like the next hour, it's instability, so you are just anxious and it's a mess. But if you are
yeah,
in a world where all is predictable for the 10 next years and it's all comfort, well, you just watch Netflix all day and you are
yeah.
not that happy either, right? So I think at the individual level, let's say the best point is between the two of them. And I think for each people will more like thrive to the adventurous side, or some people will try to security side. It depends of the,
Mm,
let's say, the ability you have to manage like uncertainty. But I think you're right. I think the more the society, the free market society become as I would say successful, and I will define successful as can have more goods for less price. For me, is that successful for a free market society? I think you will have what you explain is that the price to pay for this is as people will take less and less risk and be more and more comfortable. But I think it would be balanced by the fact that they will become unhappy, and so as they will become unhappy, a small minority of them will take risk, and so will launch the
mm.
economy. And I think it's late. I would
Like
say
a
you
wheel.
would make an endless loop. Like so, when I said last time that I can see a future where like everybody is like on pills to just be happy. Yeah,
Yeah,
but no, I can see a future where 90% of the population are like this, but not all. I think there is always like 10% that want to like push the boundary further, right? But to be fair, I think it's actually the case today. Like 90% today are on their phone or watching Netflix. What's the difference with the pill, really? For me, it's the same, right? So, yeah, to be fair, I think in the history of the world, it's always a small minority that did the most on the world, and the large majority that just consumed it. I don't think it's gonna change. I don't think it's bad or good, but I think it's just is, right.
Mm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I know that people are pretty angry about it. That they think that the big companies control their life, whatever the fuck they want. Uh, and I think it's because they. I think at the end it's because they are disappointed of themselves because they can't regulate their impulses.
Yeah.
And it's way easier to say that this is the big companies that control laws that you can't have the willing to just not turn on your TV
Mm.
or your phone, right? But I think at the end is this is it, right? It's just I think the macroeconomics of it is pretty complex, but the individual logic is pretty simple. Just don't turn on your TV. Just uninstall Instagram. I, because when you do that, what you are going to do is that you pass from the 90% of consumer into 10% of creators. And when you are in 10% of creators, and I would say that the fact that creating is becoming way easier, I would say that I would have seen that more creators, but this is not what I see. What I see is that the same amount of people that create more. So this is good
Okay.
because you have like the 90% that consume. Just so it's never been easier to just change group. If you are happy in your consumer groups, don't change, no problem, right? But if you are unhappy or if you feel that something is missing, just change group. And how do you change group? Uninstall Instagram. Just uh, put your TV in the trash, whatever. Read a book and create something, whatever you want. Because when I speak to people that are consumers, often they have like a fate of a dream to create something, whatever they want, but they don't do it because they are scared. And often it's because they are too much in the comfort zone and they are not on the edge to take the risk. They don't want to take the risk. And it's really dumb because creating something today, it's really, really easy. Like, imagine like 100 years ago, if you wanted to create something, each time you need a loan. You can't create something 100 years ago without a loan because everything that you
Mm.
would be able to create, like you would need
Yeah.
like materials, steels, whatever. Today, 90% of steel that you would create would be like digital and free. Just do it. Like it's just time, and whatever the time you pass today is Netflix. So it's not like you lose something. Just try, right? But yeah, I say that at the individual level, but at the macroeconomic level, I still think that 90-95% of the people will stay in the consumer level because it always has been the case, right? In
Mm.
the history, you are one king, a little bit of nobles, and all of countryside people that just I won't say that didn't do a thing because they like
Farm.
farm or whatever, but they were the consumer at the time, right? In ancient Egypt, same stuff. In any place in the world, the a society works like this. You will have a small minority that will create the most of good for the small for the all the people, and I would say that this ratio increase with productivity and free market because in for example the period pre-industrialization, the goods should be produced by someone, right? And you would have like a lot of farms that were like independent. Well, not really independent because they should pay taxes to the king or whatever, but a little bit independent. Today, for example, in the USA, you have a huge farms that manage like a really, really big percentage of the food productivity. So it's
Mm.
like it's even less people that manage the production of goods today than before. What it's what it say to me is that there is like more opportunity for you today than before because there is less people that are doing it. And it's basically free to try, and
And
you
that,
take for me and not any risk. The one
and
risk
that's
you take
really
is like
funny.
this. Sorry.
It's really funny because it seems like the more opportunity there is in this field, when you share and speak with the with people, it seems for them that, oh no, market is full right now. There is no chance for me as a
Yeah,
freelancer, as a content creator. There is already this guy and this guy, then this channel.
yeah,
I
yeah,
cannot compete.
yeah,
Yeah, I hear this a lot, and I'm like, bro, you don't realize that 50 years ago, if you were like talking about internet, making
yeah,
first website, people already have the same discussion, or more like
yeah, yeah,
25 years ago.
yeah,
So
yeah, you're right, you're right.
anytime, and it doesn't make sense, right?
I think it's the price of comfort. The more comfort you have, the less risk you are willing to take. So, and I think we are creating a society that the comfort is becoming easier and easier to get. So, if you have this and the comfort is becoming easier and easier to get, you have like the price to pay is that people will take less and less risks. So, for example, 100 years ago, uh, if you wanted just to be able to eat, your life would be pretty hardcore. Like
Yeah,
you will need to work at the industry. You will need to understand how money works. You will need to manage your family. You have no electricity. It's freaking hardcore. If you are in the north of Europe, you will have chance to freeze to death because you don't have like heat. It's hardcore. Today, to be able to have the same life, you can just, if you live in France, you can just not work. You have a RSA and it's okay. So the price of comfort is basically zero in France, actually. So if the price of comfort is basically zero, naturally people are uh,
less willing
less
to.
and less, let's say, have the
Willing to.
habit
Mm.
to put them in difficult situations because they don't need to anymore. And so
Yeah.
when you have that, you will have like I think the behavior that emerge that okay, so I will take less and less risk, or it's more like small stuff for them is let's say they appear really really risky, as in fact they are not. And because you always compare your situation with what you know and not like globally.
I
So if
see.
what you know is that you never take risks, the smallest risk ever will appear really huge for you. So
Yeah, yeah,
I think this is how you can explain this situation. I think this situation will, depending on what side you are, will becoming worse or better. If you want to be, want to have more comfort, it's better. If you want to have more innovation and taking, I think it would be worse because you, yeah, I think it's a byproduct of the comfort that we're creating. That for me is really good. Is that okay? But the cost to pay for this is like more and more people won't be able to take risks because they will be way more afraid because they are not like they do not have the habit
yeah.
to jump off of the comfort zone. But
I
I
see.
think it's not true for everyone. I think there is always a little bit of people that don't content with it because if if it was true for everyone, I think we would have like lost the innovation in like in the 80s. Because in the 80s
Yeah.
you already have like the comfort you have. Like it's like insane how in between the 60s and the 80s how the comfort like skyrocketed. It's like you everybody had a house, everybody had a TV, and you had a car, and you would be like in your what they call the family life, right? It's the
Mm,
comfort was everywhere. And so if the rules was okay, when you have comfort you don't take risk anymore, well, at the time we would have seen like innovation like decrease because if you don't take risks you don't build
makes
companies or
sense.
whatever. This is not what we saw. Today we have like way more innovation today than in the 80s. So I think that you still have like, I don't know if it's like a human need or if it's like part of some of the people or whatever, but it seems to me that you always have some part of the population that don't content with comfort and that want to do more and want and will take risk even if they don't need to.
I see.
It seems to
That
me
that
that
bring.
people there is still people like this.
I see.
Not the majority, but there is still. And there, it seems to me that they are more of a constant than something that can like disappear because of the comfort. I think they will still be here, but I think the people that will take risk before because of the discomfort, they will disappear. They disappear. They maybe already have.
I see. Yeah, like actually to that one. people that used to take risk to go out of discomfort.
Yeah.
Like, have you, uh, like, for sure, you experienced this situation, like you needed to take a risk to go
Mm.
out of a discomfort zone, but then, as you get comfort, do you today like are there is this inner fire of like jumping off and feeling like adventurous is less here, because if you think about it and you be rational, like, I don't need to take
Yeah.
this risk, and then
Yeah, you're right.
it just
Actually,
kind
it's
of like,
true. It's
it's
true, yeah.
true, and
Yeah, yeah.
then
My willing to
then
work my ass off to be adventurous is less strong today that, for example, 10 years ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's when you think about it. Also, you think of these years, the first year when you work your ass off and you have like great memories, and it was awesome moment, I'm sure. Like, it was fucking hard, but then when the first, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
first for me it was like first customer I found, first paycheck I received, because work my ass off and I ran into so many like no's before getting to yes,
Mm-hmm.
and it was awesome. But then the more I advance and the more I have like the income or security
Mm-hmm.
on this level, then yeah, the less there is the motivation. But now when I think about that, I'm like, oh, this is actually dumb, because these moments were awesome, and
Yeah.
if I think deeply, like, I want to relive it again and again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a point of friction because I think the the really good stuff is not when you are comfortable and happy. It's when you struggle and succeed to pass the obstacle. But this is weird because you nobody as sane would put itself in the shit just to pass obstacle, right? It's really weird. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know actually, but I feel what you are saying that the best memories that I have is when I passed a really big struggles. Yeah, but but I won't like put all my money in an account that I can't use just to begin again, right? So I think there is maybe a balance here, but I think that for me, I think the solution to this problem, and this is what I'm trying to do actually now, it's voluntary friction. Like you
Voluntary.
voluntarily like uh, remove your comfort. So
Mm.
for example, for me, it's maybe I want to take like a 2 month trip in moto in Europe. This is weird. This is not what I like because I like my life. I like my computer. I
Ah,
don't like to move. But what it's going to create, I think, it's a lot of friction. I will
yeah.
have to work in an environment that I don't know. I will have to process a lot of new informations. But actually, I think that if I try to imagine how I will remember it later, I think it will be better just if I just stayed here in my comfort, right? So
I
I
see.
think I need to for now it's just a theory, right? I need to test it
Yeah.
like for real, but the the I think voluntary friction can be a useful thing to do when you feeling that you are a little bit like walking around that you
Mm.
but you can have voluntary friction otherwise, right? You can do you can take a risk, right? If you take a risk, you have voluntary friction. You do not need like to make your comfort less possible like in the physical sense of that. You can just like take a risk, and I think it does the same stuff. But it's weird because if you take a risk that is too big, you can like put your life in a really bad place. And so
Yeah.
and this is a weird balance because you need to choose a challenge that you need to be able to overcome, right? So if the challenge is too easy, it's boring. But if
Mm.
the challenge is too hard, it can struck you down. So you need to have a challenge that is just hard enough that you can struggle to pass it. Like it's like a video game actually. It's like every boss, if a video game is good, it's well done. Every boss is just a little bit harder than your current level. So it's you struggle to pass it, but you pass it and you're happy. So for me,
Okay.
the challenge you can choose in life is it's the same, right? And it can be anything. And so this is what I mean that by voluntary friction is to try to do stuff that are just a little bit upper your current level of skills, so you can be pretty confident that you can have the skill to do it, but it will not crush you if you do not succeed. So an example is that, okay, a challenge that will crush you is that if you want to build a rocket by the end of the month, right? You won't be able to do it, and if you do it seriously, you will just ruin yourself. But what you can do that is way manageable, if we keep the example of the rocket, you can't build a mini rocket in 2 years. That if you have a little bit of skill in mathematics and in programming, you can do it. Like, it's hard, yes, but you can learn it to do it. It's realistic, right? And maybe you won't be able to do it in 2 years, but in 2 years and a half, right? But it's manageable.
Yeah.
But you won't be able to build a real rocket in 2 years or in 1 month, right? So I think this is the way you can do it, like to recreate this friction that create like good memories. It's like to choose regularly challenge that are just a little bit up your current skill level. But yeah, because it's weird because theoretically, like I explained it right now, it seems pretty easy, but I know that in practice it's not that easy because choosing the challenge is really hard because you don't actually know what the level skill required at the advance at the beginning. So yes, there is a little bit of a leap of faith, right? You need just to go for it and see how it goes, right? For example, if I take my motorbike in 2 months, I don't know if I'm gonna break it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to repair it. I don't know what's gonna happen. But I think the other solution that's not to do it, I think on the long term is worse. Is worse, like not like worse emotionally. I think it's like even worse rationally. I will have learned less. I will be in a worse place, like in my life evolution, that if I don't do it, that if I do it, even if the trip is like the worst possible. Like the worst possible is like I break my motorbike somewhere I don't have any telephone network, right? Maybe it's the worst possible outcome that can happen, right? So I break my motorbike, I can move, and I have nobody to contact, or maybe I crash, so I break my leg, whatever, right? Even if that's it, and it's pretty bad scenario, I think even that is better than not to do it. Because when you are in this situation like that, so it's like an amount of friction that is huge. I think it forces your brain to rewire yourself, and I think it's where you learn the most. And so I think after you will be able to manage more difficult challenge because of it, even if on the moment it's not really good. Like you do not like, you are not really happy, but like you say, I think the souvenir and the story you will be able to tell is really great. So yeah, we'll see. But let's say it's the idea to conclude what you just said before.
Yeah, and good conclusion because it comes
Yeah,
to
yeah.
to the first point of like it's our capacity, human capacity of telling story, basically.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. Okay, right, Rémi, thank you very much. It was really interesting, really cool.
A pleasure.
Maybe we'll see you another time on the podcast with pleasure.
All right, goodbye.
Bye bye.